Is Canada declining? I know that's a very bold question and a very bold statement. But look around, skyrocketing house prices, wages that are not keeping up, the dream of owning their own home is fading away for a lot many people. Young families, new Canadians, and even long term residents are debating now, is this really the country that we move to? Is Canada still the land of opportunities that we always thought it was? Today, we are unpacking the state of Canadian real estate, why buying a home in Canada is becoming nearly impossible, how the middle class families are getting squeezed, and what it means for the future of living in Canada. Is there any hope left for us, or are we looking towards a generational crisis? Let's look into this.
Let's start with the facts. In the past decade, Canadian home prices have soared, especially in major cities like Toronto and Vancouver. The average home price in Toronto is about $1.2 million. If you're thinking Vancouver would be any better, it's even higher. Many young Canadians today are finding that home ownership, once a rite of passage, is slipping out of their reach. So, who can afford a home? Many families are making some big sacrifices to own a home, taking up multiple jobs, working extra hours, and even delaying family plans. But is this really sustainable? More Canadian families are now thinking if they're working to live or if they're living just to pay off their mortgages.
This affordability crisis is just not a concern for young families or for the first time home buyers. It's hitting the middle class families the hardest. Families making almost $100,000 a year are barely scraping by, barely just surviving in the big cities. Some of the people are of the view now that they're better off renting and they have lost all hope of ever buying a home. For some, it means putting off their retirement and continue to work and never ever saving anything at all. And it's not just the high cost of buying, property taxes, home maintenance, and the interest rates that we had in the last year have people left stretched out completely. Although with the interest rates coming down, families have felt a little bit of relief, but they have come to realize that by living hand to mouth, they need to consider either to find better jobs, change their lives, or to end up leaving Canada.
So, what's the reality here? Are we facing a housing crisis that threatens to reshape our society? Some experts even argue that if housing remains this unaffordable, we might be heading to a tipping point. A point where people will question if Canada is still worth it. Canada has always been a country of promises and opportunities. But if our children can't afford to stay here, what happens to that promise? Young people are starting to look at other countries with more affordable housing and work life balance. Will we lose a whole generation of talents?
All right, so is there any hope left with us? Economists say that the government needs to do more, build more houses, give incentives for the affordable housing, and maybe revisit and tweak the investment policies. But is it just the policies? I think we as Canadians need to take this into our hand. We need to have an honest conversation about the future that we really want. Do we still believe in the Canadian dream? If so, how can we bring it back for everyone?
If this topic resonates with you, hit like, subscribe, and share it with your friends. And also, let's continue these suggestions and conversations down in the comments below with your thoughts. Have you struggled to find affordable housing in Canadian real estate market? And are you thinking about leaving or do you see any hope on the horizon here? We, Dhir and Goyal, your Calgary and surrounding area go to realtors are always here to give you more insights and help you make a better decision in Calgary and surrounding area real estate transactions. Thank you so much for watching.